Hello, girls, guys, or otherwise. This is Rich with your Witchy Book Club series, chapter. Oh, geez, I'm sorry, I'm ill prepared for this. Chapter 7 of Outer Temple of Witchcraft by Christopher Penzak. If you do not have your own copy, go into the bottom bar, into the description below, and get your copy. It is an Amazon link. I do suggest getting your books and witchy supplies from a small business, but if that is not possible for you, Amazon is there for you. So go into the description box. I do believe they have this on Kindle as well. Anyway, while you're down there, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. It's right over here. Hit that bell notification because YouTube might let you know whenever I make new content and put it out. Um, maybe not. We're not really sure on that. Make sure that you're subscribed because YouTube's done some shit. Anyway, hit that like button if you like these videos. Hit that dislike button if you dislike these videos. Either way, also leave a comment because it all appeases the algorithmic gods of YouTube. All hail the algorithmic gods of YouTube. With all that being said and rambled through, let's go ahead and get into Chapter 7, Lesson 3, entitled Fire and Water of the Outer Temple of Witchcraft. Okay, so in the grandest of traditions, we are going to start with the first sentence, in this case, first couple of sentences, to see how the chapter is being set up. I will note before going any further that I do not have a lot of notes on this chapter in particular. So it should be a relatively okay type of video. I do want to try to make these a little bit shorter because the longer videos people end up, falling asleep to and whatnot. Anyway, this reads Fire and water, hot and cold, dry and wet. Sun and moon, together they are the primal polarity, the action of energy, movement, and creation. I don't have a lot of notes for this. It's not really his strongest entrance into a chapter. However, it is still okay and it's very apt for the chapter as a whole. It does set it up fairly nicely. On page 122, flipping the page here, um, he states about halfway down, fire is the least dense energy of the elemental realms. I slightly disagree. I would say that air is the least dense energy of the elemental realms. Um, he kind of intermixes fire and air in this, or he kind of flips them a little bit in certain ways, both in some of the directionals that he gives and whatnot. For me, fire has always been south. That is just what's always been taught to me. That's what I've always felt. I've kind of jived along with that. No issues there. Fire is, like I've said before, it's passion. It's things that you are passionate about. It is a driving factor for the creative ideas that you get with the air quality or the air elements. So saying that it is the least dense energy of the elemental realms, I really do kind of disagree with that. I would say second least dense. Um, yeah, I would say second least dense. Um, I would definitely say that air would be the least dense. It's kind of like, in its name and whatnot. For me, at least, that's the way that I've always felt with fire and uh, between fire and air, that air is the least dense, but that's me. Um, let's go on to page 123. I'm going to be reading quite a bit on this page. To the witch, fire is the power of will, the ability to direct your energy and attention to the universe to make magic. If you don't have control over your willpower, your magic will be ineffective. I agree. If you don't have power over, or you don't have control over your willpower, if you are not, if your passions are not subdued to a point, um, I wouldn't say that your magic would be ineffective. It might be chaotic, and you might not get what you intend because it is chaotic. So that's one thing that I would kind of hone that down. I wouldn't really say it's ineffective. I would just say that it's not going to give you the desired results. Uh, it would be more chaotic in that aspect. Moving on. The tool of will is the wand. I disagree, but we're going to go along with this. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. The tool that I've always associated with fire has been the blade, the athame, your ritual blade, whatever you want to call it, the athame. I know different people have different names for it. Um, I've always seen that as the tool of fire, not the wand. To me, has always been an air quality. It goes, it's like a branch in the wind and whatnot. But fire is needed to forge the blade. Um, that and it withstands the heat of fire. Um, so yeah, that's something that I've always associated with fire. Now, this does not mean that you can't have a fire wand, something that has fire qualities to it. But the average wand I would associate with fire. You can also dedicate a tool to being used for a certain element. I don't see why that would be impossible or impractical. As long as if you, the practitioner, knows what it is intended for and what elemental connection it has for you, it should not matter. But I do slightly disagree with him on the wand being a fire, the tool of fire. Or I would say it is the tool of uh, having will. Um, but I would also say that the athame would be of the same aspect. So to me, the tool of will would be both athame or wand. However, the tool of fire I would associate more with the athame than the wand. Got it? We're good. Let's move on. A wand is a long, slender tool, usually made of wood, metal, glass, or stone, used to focus our will. I agree with this, and I am quite fond of wands. Um, I think they are absolutely beautiful. I think that they are very useful, and I absolutely love using mine. I am actually in the. I am being called to get a new one, not to replace my current wand, but to have something that works in tandem. I used to have a selenite wand uh, that I absolutely loved and worked very well for me, but it broke on a trip. I think it was whenever I went to Korea. It broke in half. Um, Still not sure if I want to attempt to try to fix it. Um, I don't want to glue it. I would rather do like a wire wrapping of it. I'll show y'all. Maybe you can help me out. Moving on. You need the fire element to start the process. I disagree. For me, it is the air element that starts the process. The air element, like I've already said, is the element of inspiration and creativity of thought form. To me, fire does not meet those criterion. So to me, it would be that you need air to start the process, but air leads to fire. So it's not far behind. I would just disagree with him uh, on this aspect. Moving on, traditional wands are the length of the middle finger to the elbow. That has always seemed incredibly long to me. I cannot fathom having a wand that freakishly long because this is about 18 inches, and that just seems really long to me. I would want something, you know, anywhere like around probably a foot. 18 inches just. yeah, that seems a little long to me. So, yeah, moving on. The tool will help, but don't feel you can't do magic because you don't have your magic wand with you. Absolutely. On Wednesday, I'm actually going to be discussing this a little bit more. On a continuation of my travel videos. Um, yeah, I did one last week on the, or this past week, on the tools that we use, or the tools that I take with me on trips and whatnot, some things that I take with me on trips. But I want to do a follow-up video of things that we can use and how we can do spell work if we're on a trip that's, more than like a day or two. So, yeah, stay tuned for Wednesday's Witchy Wednesday on that one. Okay, moving on. Let me get a drink here. Grab your coffee, grab your tea, grab your beverage, whatever it may be. I have coffee. We're moving on to page 125. Use your imagination when questioning for your own wand, and you can always have another as you grow and develop in your magic. This is something that I I don't really regret doing, but now looking back, I'm like, I kind of wish I did, is getting all of your tools all at once. It's something that I I wish I didn't do, just because I would have more of a connection with the tools that I do have. And don't get me wrong, I've developed a connection, a bond with the my working tools. However, uh, doing a ritual to have a wand come to me. I mean, you're talking. This is before, uh, really a lot. I wouldn't say before internet, but before like reliable. Everybody was still like, hacking accounts and whatnot. Maybe it's gotten worse. Maybe it's gotten better, but I did not feel safe at all really buying things online. So I wanted to go to an actual store and pick out my wand, and that is one of the few wands that were available there. And I like a little glitz and glam with a wand, but not too much. And sometimes I find them where it's like they have way too many things going on with the wand. But there are other times whenever it's like, this is a little too plain for me. I need a little bit extras, a little extra. And I kind of, I love having the wand that I have. Let me just put that out there. However, I wish I would have sat around and meditated and really questioned what I'm looking for in a wand, and really scoured around for the proper wand for me, to utilize in my practice. One thing I may do instead of going out and buying one is I may fashion one. I do have some ideas of what I want to do with a staff that I have, not as a wand, but as a staff, a ritual staff. Um, but I'm a little apprehensive of really doing anything like that because I'm not incredibly well versed in woodworking and the aspect of like carving things out and whatnot. But I do have a good hand whenever it comes to a Dremel. So as long as if I can map out how I want it to look, we'll be good. I don't have any notes for a long portion here. Next one I have notes for is page 133. So anyway, a little bit more on a wand. I'm not sure exactly what wood type I want. I'm kind of leaning towards willow, but not really sure if that's what really fits me, and I kind of want to dig a little deeper. I know there is a witchy store that's not far from where I'm at here in Dover, but I don't know if I want to buy a wand. I kind of want to fashion one. So anyway, that's enough about wands for right now. Maybe we'll pick it up here, after a little while, or whenever I find one and start fashioning it. So Maybe I'll probably definitely share that with y'all for like a Witchy Wednesday or something like that. Anyway, moving on. On page 133, elemental water is the energy of shape and form. Just like the physical representation, water will conform to its container. Agree. Totally agree. I just wanted to touch on the uh, water energy, the representation there. He goes on to say, water is the astral plane, the psychic energy shaped and formed by others, forming the energetic foundation of our reality. I think this is beautifully written. I think it is poetically done, and I think it is fairly accurate. So I just want to touch on that. Moving on a little further down, water is the power of emotion. Totally agree. Emotion flows, forcing us to shift, bend, and adapt like the stream, yet is fierce and powerful, like the raging river or mighty ocean. Totally agree. There are aspects of each element that are good and bad. You know, whenever you're talking air, you're talking, yes, nice peaceful breeze, but you can also be talking hurricane, tornadoes, stuff like that. With fire, yes, it provides light and heat, but it can also burn down your freaking house. With water, yes, you have, life sustaining fluids. However, you also have, again, hurricanes, you have tidal waves, tsunamis, stuff like that. With earth, you have um, a being that we are living on, a thing that is essential for us to grow crops and to live. However, you're also talking earthquakes, you're talking volcanoes, stuff like that. So there are extremes to each one of these elements, and it's something that we need to continuously remind ourselves of, that not all the elements, or not that the elements that we come in contact with, the elemental energies, are not always good, amped up to 11. Sometimes you have to find that balance, and I think that's important to note. Moving on 134, the element of water is the element of the healer. Water holds the power of compassion and emotional sustenance. I agree. Whenever we're talking water, we're, you know, let me just say how powerful a good cry is, okay? Whenever you have a good cry, it can be healing. Um, it is basically salt water that is being expelled from you, and it heals you to have those moments. Sometimes, like watching an emotional movie or something like that, I'm a little sob story. I'm uh, such a crier at certain movies, but sometimes, like with what happened earlier this month with Winnie, is, sometimes you need to sit there and you just need to bawl your freaking eyes out, and that in and of itself is healing. I totally agree with water being the healer element. Sometimes a good shower is what you need to just revitalize yourself. Soaking in a bath with Epsom salts or something like that is something that heals you. Totally agree with this. So let's go ahead and move on. How are we doing on time? We're only around 19 minutes or so there. Cool. I think this might be my shortest Witchy Book Club one yet, because I have no other notes. A lot of this chapter, let me go back here for a second. A lot of this chapter is exercises. Now, I was saying to myself earlier, because that's what I call myself, I'm probably not going to do a lot of these exercises, and the reasoning behind it is because whenever I redid or re-examined or reassessed my practice back in 2016, I believe it was 2016, I really looked at the elements and what they meant to me, and I've done similar types of exercises in my life during that time. Um, so these exercises, while they are great, and I do suggest them if you haven't done anything like them, I've already done exercises akin to this, not these specific ones, like I said, but ones that are very much like it. And I examined the why behind what I do and the why behind the elemental energies and whatnot, because you know you have to ask these questions to really examine your own practice and why you're doing what you're doing and why this element is considered that. Um, and I suggest not waiting until you're in your practice, what is that, 5 years, 5, 6 years, something like that I was in, 6 years. Um, before you start asking questions to each and every one of these elements. Start asking them early on in your practice if you are just starting out, because I think this is a fantastic way of knowing exactly what you're expecting from an element and where you intend to develop with that elemental energy. Hold on, time for a drink. Okay, so we do have some homework, and it is complete exercise 11 through 18. Record your experiences in your Book of Shadows. If you can't complete your tool quests, which I do enjoy, a good quest, a quest. I do suggest doing the quests. While I am looking for a new one, I will probably go to this exercise to look for a new wand. I'm just not sure exactly what I want yet, or what I absolutely need yet. But it will come. It is a quest. He goes on, simply continue the search for the right wands and chalice. I have already found the right chalice. I've shown it in videos before. Y'all have seen it. I love that chalice. I would kind of be heartbroken if it got broken. Then he says, continue journaling regularly. I have done crap all with my journal. Back before I went part-time at work, the company that I was working full-time for, I had a slower day. And what I would do is, after doing my morning run through where I charged people's cards and all that were on automatic payments, I sent out the late letters, courtesy reminders, all that stuff. Then I would go out on a ride around the property to make sure that, any garbage is picked up, check the furnace rooms, all that stuff. Then I would come back because we didn't have that much stuff to do afterwards. I would sit there and I would journal, and I'd do 2-3 pages, and I'd also leave it out during the day, so if I had something that came to mind, I would start writing in it again. At my part-time job now, still working in the storage unit industry, I don't have that type of time anymore. And whenever I'm at home, I forget to take it out of my work bag. I usually still travel with it, with my journal with me. However, sitting down and actually putting pen to paper, or fountain pen to paper, as I like to do, is increasingly difficult because I have a hard time setting aside the time for it, and that's something that I need to get back into doing. Do you all have that issue as well? Let me know in the comments below, because the struggle is real here. Tips. He has tips. Just seeing how we're doing on the time there. Okay. To put fire into your daily... Let's try this again. to put fire into your daily life. Try to do something spontaneous or passionate every day. Offer your fire element to another or to society. Be of service to a greater light, a greater good. Sharing your flame, reflect on your use of energy, of fuel, from personal energy to the resources of this world, such as wood, oil, gasoline, and even candles. You are using these things with, or are you using these things with respect? Are you conserving them? Think about the many ways fire manifests in your life. Okay, some of these I will go ahead and answer right now. Um, Oil, yes, I try to conserve that as much as possible. I have a couple oil burners, lanterns, and one that I like to use for spell work, but I use those sparingly because I don't like to waste the lamp oil. Um, Gasoline, I just got a Prius because it's better on gas mileage. Um, than the Fiesta was, and the Fiesta was really good on gas mileage too. But I've I've kept the truck just because there are times whenever I need a pickup truck. But yes, I've tried, or I've made steps to try to lessen my carbon footprint with respects to gasoline and candles. Oh my gosh, I have so many freaking candles because I kind of refuse to burn a lot of them. It's like, oh, but I might need it later. I might want it later. I might want it for, having a nice little, a nice little decorative thing going and whatnot. I'm one of those people that kind of hoards candles when I have them. So, and I have a lot because I've done house clean outs and I've just gotten boxes full of them. So I don't really buy candles because I either make my own or I have the candles that I need at any given time. The only thing that I would buy are figural candles, and I really don't use those that often. I don't think I've ever had to use one in my practice or ever had the urge to need it. So, yeah, never really got into figural candles. Not saying they're not useful, just not really something I've ever needed to use in spell work. Moving on. Other tips to put water into your daily life. Reflect on water as you drink any fluids during your day. Notice flowing water, fountains, and even plumbing. Think about the life-sustaining qualities of water. Make all your drinking and bathing experiences magical realms. To attune with water. Think about what you put into hold on. Think about what you put into water. How much water do you use and why you use it? Do you respect it and honor it? Do you conserve it as the precious resource it is? Think about all the uses of water in your life. I am one that I probably use more water than I should, especially in the shower. As far as drinking and utilizing it around the home and whatnot, I mean, I'm constantly drinking coffee. It's bean water. So, yeah, I constantly am using coffee or using water in coffee and other beverages. However, I probably could use with turning or taking shorter showers and less baths and whatnot, showering more often, getting a better faucet for the shower and whatnot. So that is something that I will need to look into. But as far as using it around the house, I fill up a pool for the puppies. But other than that, and I water well, my boyfriend usually waters the garden. That's not really my area, but I do water my flowers and whatnot. But yeah, other than that, I think I do fairly okay with it, and that's just something that I need to work on with the showers. So Yeah, I like to take a nice, hot, steamy shower. Yes. It wakes me up in the morning. That's one of the big things about it is I get a shower every morning and it wakes me up, gets me ready for the day, and gets all the all the kinks out of my spine and whatnot. So you know spinal problems and back issues and just feeling tense and tight and whatnot and in the muscles, and it relaxes that. So I have to find some alternatives to that. But anyway, other than that, the other thing that I wanted to touch on before I sign off is I do want to, because he gave several examples here. I haven't gotten a chance this week to do this yet. However, I do want to revamp my quarter calls, how I call the elements and whatnot. So I probably will be sharing that on a excuse me, on a Witchy Wednesday. Probably 2 Witchy Wednesdays from now. Let's see. So probably around the 7th of July uh, is probably when I'm going to release that, unless I find something uh, to do before that deals with the traveling aspect. So anyway, with all that being said, that was Chapter 7, Lesson 3, titled Water and Fire, of the Outer Temple of Witchcraft. Again, you can get your copy in the description box below. There is a link, and do all those YouTube things, the subscribe, bell, like, dislike, comments, all that stuff. And until next time, which is tomorrow, may you have love, hugs, and ladybugs. Bye.